Do you think this fight is being overhyped?
As a sporting event, obviously, because it's not going to be competitive. But as an event itself, not really. Stephen A., I'd like to take you through a little thought experiment if you got a minute. You know,
take your time.
This is, by the way, something I do to prove to people. This is something I do to prove to people that boxing, but in this case it could be MMA, combat sports, is actually their favorite sport, whether they know it or not. If you come to an intersection, a street corner, and on one corner the guy's playing pickup basketball, on the other they're playing football, on the third someone's putting a golf ball, and on the fourth corner there's a fight. Where's the crowd? Around the fight, right? Boxing and MMA is intrinsically more compelling than other sports. It's not a metaphor for something. Nothing represents anything. It's literal. One guy separates the other guy from his will. He imposes his will on him, knocks him down. Other guy can't get up. He's separated the other guy from his own will. It's a literal manifestation of what all other sports simply represent. It's more interesting. So then the question becomes, why don't more people follow boxing, for example? And that answer is also pretty straightforward. If on one corner I redid the experiment and it's LeBron and KD going at it, and on the other corner J.J. Watt's trying to get at Tom Brady and Tiger Woods is putting a golf ball, and then two no-names are fighting, well, now still you get some crowd around the fight. That's how good fighting is. But now it's a little different. In other words, when you don't know the characters involved in sports, which is how we sell this stuff, which is the way human beings understand the world, storytelling, if you don't know the characters, you're not invested in them, you don't know the obstacles, you don't know what they're up against, you're not as interested. So what we have here is a boxer, Floyd Mayweather, and no one else is as famous in his sport as he is. Pacquiao was the other guy, and he beat him already. And then we have McGregor, same thing. There's no other name in MMA as big as McGregor. And so, and they're around the same size. So in the absence of each having an opponent in their own sport, people who love fighting for the reasons I just said and need characters that they know are invested in want to see these two fight each other. That's what's going on here. So as an event, it's understandable along those lines. But as a sporting event, because it's going to take place in the ring, McGregor's got no shot. The answer is it's not being overhyped as an event, just as a sporting event.
Well, I appreciate you taking both sides of that, Max Kellerman. I will tell you, unlike you, see, I will defer to your level of expertise because this is pugilism here. As much as I am a fan, I defer to an expert. Take notes and learn how to do that yourself. You should learn. So listen up. I'm only deferring. I'm only going to say what I got to say, but I'm deferring. Here's what I suspect. I think this fight will live up to the hype because of McGregor. See, what I love about this, it's not just the hype, but it's the fact that McGregor is not the kind of person that then is going to walk up in there and complain about how his shoulder hurt because he misses hitting Floyd 400 times. No. I don't care if McGregor has to end up cheating, trying to hit him with elbows or something. I don't care that it's a boxing match. You can't convince me that some form of UFC tactics are not going to find a way to infiltrate the proceedings. I don't believe it for 1 second. I believe something like that is going to happen. I believe that McGregor, being a UFC fighter, having taken punches in the past, knows that he can take, or believes rather, that he can take a punch from Floyd. I think he's going to stalk him. I think he's going to attack him. And as a result, Floyd is going to have to school him and beat him down all at the same time. And that's why I think this will live up to the hype, because it's not one of those situations where there's going to be a lot of dancing around. That ain't McGregor. McGregor comes, he's stepping to you, he's looking to knock you out. I don't believe he's going to touch Floyd. Neither do you. We all know the brilliance of Floyd Money Mayweather in a boxing ring, and these are going to be boxing rules. I almost feel sorry for how McGregor is going to get embarrassed and beat down. But I also am a fan who has watched guys get completely outclassed. And I'll use this analogy, Max, because again, I speak, but you know this stuff because you're the expert with the boxing. You remember Iran Barkley and how outclassed he was by Tommy the Hitman Hearns? And then all of a sudden, what? You understand? And Hitman, the Hitman, who I love dearly, went tumbling down. What I'm saying to you is, when I think McGregor, Mayweather, and I'll defer to you, I think about, okay, I know who the brilliant individual is going to be. Is McGregor gonna get lucky and clip him with one punch? Is that possible?
That's a great
that
pull.
Alone,
That's
that
a great
alone
pull,
has
Barkley
me thinking.
Hearns.
Who knows? Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's a great pull, Barkley Hearns. But because it was a crude kind of slugger against a very classy boxer,
right.
And the slugger was able to weather the boxing storm and get in and knock Hearns out. And then, by the way, beat Hearns again in the rematch, which is weird because you wouldn't think they're in the same class, but that's what happened. Here's the difference. McGregor is a very talented fighter with his hands. I've seen him score knockouts going backwards. It's not easy to do. Sugar Ray Robinson used to do that. Yeah. But even if McGregor's the most talented boxer of all time, let's say somehow he happens to be more naturally gifted than Sugar Ray Robinson, it takes a long time to make a good 10-round fighter, period. I mean, just a guy who gets into the ring and can go 10 good rounds with a contender. That takes a long time. Usually, boxing matchmakers will tell you it takes 5-6 years to take a guy from the beginning to turn him into a decent 10-round fighter. That's just a decent 10-round fighter. That's just a guy who can go 10 rounds with a contender. McGregor is not trying to go 10 rounds with a contender. He's trying to beat the best fighter in the world when last seen. One of the greatest pure boxers who ever lived, who's been doing it since he's a little baby. I mean, it's total muscle memory with Floyd, and McGregor is trying to just wake up one day. I know he has some boxing in his background, but he's trying to essentially wake up one day and become not a 10-round contender type fighter, but a guy capable of beating one of the best ever, and he's trying to do it in a matter of months. I don't care how talented he is. Even Iran Barkley, been boxing all his life. You don't just roll out of bed, pick it up, and beat a really good fighter, let alone Floyd.